He saw his own death live on TV before it happened. Have you ever seen something on TV that shouldn't exist yet? Like watching the evening news and realizing the story they're reporting is about you dying tomorrow. This is what happened to Daniel Ross, a man who sat down one quiet night to watch the news only to witness something that shattered his grip on reality forever. Daniel Ross was an ordinary man, 38 years old, single, living in a modest apartment in Chicago. A freelance architect, quiet, disciplined, predictable. His days revolved around Blueprints coffee and late-night TV. But on the night of March 12th, something strange happened. It was 9:47 p.m. The local news had just started. Daniel wasn't really paying attention until the anchor's tone changed. Serious, urgent. He heard the words, "Breaking news, tragic accident. Downtown claims one man's life." A small clip rolled. It showed a silver car crushed against a streetlight pole, smoke rising, sirens screaming in the background. The camera zoomed in, and Daniel froze. The car was his same model, same dent on the left door, and then they showed the license plate. His exact plate number. Daniel's body went cold. His mug of coffee slipped from his hand and shattered on the floor. The anchor continued. Authorities have not yet identified the victim, but witnesses say the man appeared to lose control of the vehicle just before 9:47 p.m. Daniel looked at his watch. It was 9:47 p.m. now. Crash they were reporting was supposedly happening at this very moment, but Daniel was alive, sitting right there in his living room. He grabbed his phone, shaking, and called the station. The line was busy. He refreshed the live news stream on his laptop. The report was still there. The crash footage was playing in a loop. He turned the TV volume up. His heart pounded. Then came the next line from the anchor. The victim's name has just been released. Daniel Ross, a 38-year-old architect. He stumbled backward, his pulse roaring in his ears. The air in the room felt heavy, suffocating. He kept whispering to himself, "This isn't real. This can't be real." He turned off the TV, ran to the window. The street below was quiet. No accident, no flashing lights. He checked his car outside, perfectly fine, sitting in the driveway. He switched the TV back on. The report was gone. It had switched to sports highlights. No mention of any accident, no mention of him like it. Never happened. He thought maybe he'd fallen asleep and dreamed it. But when he checked his phone, there was a notification from the news app. Breaking: Daniel Ross dies in car crash at 9:47 p.m. He clicked it, but the link said page not found. That's when the phone rang. A calm, low voice said, "You shouldn't have turned off the TV, Daniel." And the call ended. Daniel couldn't sleep that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that crushed silver car. By morning, he'd convinced himself it was some glitch, maybe a hacker or a prank. He went to work trying to forget it. But at exactly 9:47 p.m. the next night, his TV turned on by itself. Static flickered. Then the same news anchor appeared. Same channel, same cold voice. "We have new footage from yesterday's tragic crash." The clip showed police moving a body from the car. The face was blurred, but the jacket was Daniel's favorite leather one. The anchor continued, "Authorities are investigating the bizarre circumstances of Daniel Ross's death. His body was found exactly 24 hours after his television first reported it." Daniel shouted at the screen, "This isn't true, I'm alive." But then the anchor turned her head, and for the first time in his life, Daniel saw a news anchor look directly at him, right into the camera. "Are you sure?" she said, and the feed cut to static. Panicked Daniel unplugged the TV, the cable box, everything. He stayed at a friend's house that night. But the next morning, he woke up to his friend Aaron staring at him in horror. "Daniel, there's a news van outside." Daniel looked out the window. A local news van was parked across the street. Reporters were filming, pointing their cameras right at the house. He opened the door and shouted, "What do you want?" One of the reporters gasped, "Oh my God, he looks exactly like him." "Like who?" Daniel yelled. The woman whispered, "Like Daniel Ross, the man who died yesterday." Aaron looked at Daniel pale. "Man, what's going on? They're saying you died yesterday. I saw your photo on TV." Daniel's hands trembled. He ran to his car, the silver one, and drove to the police station. But when he told them who he was, the officer looked up and said, "That's impossible. Daniel Ross was pronounced dead last night." He even showed Daniel a printed police report. His name, date of death, time of death, March 13th, 9:47 p.m. Daniel begged them to check fingerprints. "ID anything," the officer hesitated, then led him to the evidence locker there. Sitting on a metal shelf was a burned wallet. Inside it, his driver's license. He took a step back. "Where did you get this?" "From your car," the officer said. "The crash site downtown." Daniel ran out, jumped in his car, and drove toward the supposed crash site. The intersection was taped off, but the skid marks were still there, and the scorch marks on the light of pole matched exactly what he'd seen on TV. He felt dizzy, like he was walking through a version of reality that didn't belong to him anymore. That night he didn't go home. He parked by Lake Michigan and sat watching the water. At 9:47 p.m., his phone buzzed. An unknown number, he answered, and a distorted version of his own voice said, "You can't change what's already been seen." Then silence, determined to get answers. Daniel returned to the TV station the next morning. He demanded to see the producer, who aired the false report. But when he gave his name, the receptionist froze. "Wait, Daniel Ross, the Daniel Ross." "Yes, I'm the guy from the broadcast. You made a mistake." She called her supervisor. Moments later, a man came down from the elevator, pale and shaking. "Sir, I think you'd better come with me." They took Daniel to a control room filled with monitors. The producer said quietly, "We never aired any story about you. I've checked the logs. No footage, no script, nothing." "You must be mistaken." Daniel's head spun. He pointed at one of the screens. "Then what's that?" On the monitor, the live news feed was showing an accident happening right now. Same silver car, same crash. The timestamp live, March 14th. 9:47 p.m. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. "That's today?" He whispered. "No," said the producer slowly. "That's in 2 hours." Daniel raced out of the station. He was determined to stop whatever was happening, to prove the footage wrong once and for all. He avoided the downtown route completely. He drove to his sister's house across town, parked the car, and locked himself inside. He thought if he stayed put, he could beat fate. But at 9:40 p.m., his phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. It was a live stream link titled "The Death of Daniel Ross." He shouldn't have clicked it, but he did. The stream showed his sister's neighborhood, his car parked outside. Then the camera started shaking. A large truck in the distance, lost control tires, screeching headlights blinding. The clock on the screen ticked 9:47 p.m. Daniel ran toward the window, shouting, "No." And at that exact moment, the truck slammed into his car. The explosion lit up the entire street. He was thrown back by the blast, hitting his head hard. Everything went black. When Daniel opened his eyes, he was in a hospital bed. A nurse leaned over him. "You're lucky to be alive, Mr. Ross." He blinked, confused. "What time is it?" 9:46 p.m., she said. The heart monitor beside him beeped erratically. The TV in the corner flickered on by itself, showing the same news anchor from before. She smiled faintly and said, "Breaking news, Daniel Ross has died from injuries sustained in a car explosion. Time of death, 9:47 p.m. The screen went black. The heart monitor fled Lanita. Week later, the same news station received a USB drive in an unmarked envelope. No note, no return address, just a file labeled "Tomorrow's Broadcast." The producer opened it. Inside was a video of their next newscast, word for word identical, except for one difference. At the end, the anchor said a new name, Next, we remember our colleague producer Michael Hawley, who tragically passed away this evening. The producer's coffee cup slipped from his hand because his name was Michael Hall.